FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is 12/6/19. Well, you've probably been watching the Fed, and they're doing what they do best, which is confusing the markets, but making them go up, hopefully. Well, is the round of interest rate cuts now officially over, or is it just a brief pause? What's going to happen next? Well, our good friend Al Caceido is with us, and if you got any opinion on it, where do you think rates are heading? Are they heading higher, or are they just going to be stabilized for a while, or maybe they're going to cut them again? What do you think? Let us know. Email address kl@kerrylutz.com. So Al, looks like the Fed is content, if you listen to Powell, if you believe what he says, with where interest rates are currently situated, which is extremely low, especially in the middle of a booming recovery that's been going on for now 11 years. What's your take on this?
Well, Kerry, in my opinion, I think that the Fed is kind of, they're kind of stuck. They're continuously under pressure from the markets, and it really has been unable to significantly reinflate growth from here. They're kind of like in what I would say a lose situation, because they kind of can't stay where they are. They really can't do more. But they can't do less. Now that translates for investors is that, it's a win for investors. It's a win-win for investors for right now, because if you think about it, how often you get, high returns on your risk assets, but you also are getting decent returns on your bonds and all your risk mitigation type of products. So the way I look at it is that I think that we're just kind of kicking this can down the street even more. I don't believe there's going to be any more reduction. I really don't, not for this year at least. But they kind of put themselves in a corner here that what's going to happen when there's a real crisis and these things start turning around and they can't. They've been propping the markets. They've been supplying them with juice for so long, and they're continuing to do so.
So they're kind of like addicted, right? They're hooked on easy credit, and there's no getting away from that. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty much. Because what they're trying to do here is that they're pushing up asset prices, and by hoping that these higher asset prices, what they're hoping for is that it makes us feel wealthier. Okay, and if we feel wealthier, we spend more, and if we spend more, then companies invest more. But I just think that there's collateral damage to that and unintended consequences, because the Fed can't pull back again if it's it can't pull back because it's worried it's going to disrupt markets, and if the markets are disrupted, then they think that this is going to be spilled over into the economy. So man, what a mess.
So the question, I guess, is do the markets lead the Fed, or does the Fed leave the markets? In the end, who's going to win, the Fed or the markets? Yeah,
well, right now, this particular Fed chairman is under a lot of pressure from the White House, from the markets, from everything like that, and it's not really looking at the fundamentals that are not correct yet, and it's making decisions, I think, on emotion rather than facts.
Yeah. Well, the markets are very emotional, and really. Think about it. What fear and greed? Those are the only two emotions on Wall Street, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because for them, for the Fed to win on this, that a lot of things have to happen. They're gonna have to figure out this trade war thing. They're gonna have to figure out what is Germany going to do with their fiscal stimulus. And then can we get the infrastructure effort from both the U.S. and Europe all together? It's almost like a perfect storm has to happen for all of this to go correctly. I just don't think that I don't think that the Fed can be the ongoing savior of the economy.
Yeah. Well, as somebody once said, you expect these guys to basically further the policy of anti-climate change, stopping the climate from changing, 2% inflation, full employment, and all sorts of other politically correct things. What can go wrong, right?
Amen. Yeah, that to me, that's huge because you're relying on so many things that just got to go really perfect. And we're just, I think, the times are too volatile right now for what the Fed is thinking. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think next year is going to be interesting. I don't know how they're going to react. I mean, we're almost out of, you're almost out of juice. Like, what else can you play? I mean, I think, they have this quasi QE thing going on. They got the interest rates going on. How many more cards do they have? And what's troubling, Gary, is that they're doing this in good times, and supposedly good times.
Right. So maybe
they're taking all these extraordinary measures that they did back in 2007 when everything was going to hit the fan, and they're doing it in good times, supposedly.
And that's real. And that's real cause for alarm, isn't it? If
that doesn't disturb you, I don't know what else would. So if you're in that near retirement or close to retirement stage, you have to listen to these things because these alarms going off. Because why are they doing all of this? Why are they taking these extraordinary measures at a time when supposedly everything is okay?
Mm-hmm. Which is a great question for which we know the answer, but nobody wants to upset the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right?
Absolutely.
Because in the end, right, the people in the street, all they care about is their bonuses and their future job prospects. So nobody else really cares about anything else, do they?
Yeah, we're kind of blinded, because again, I think you and I have spoken about this before. We get caught up in the froth, and we see that our 401ks are doing better, and we feel better, and all that kind of stuff. But we're not looking at the technicals of what's happening. And and to me, I think you're building a beautiful home, your dream home on quicksand.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, so what are you supposed to do about this, Al? How are you supposed to protect your wealth and ensure your future against screw-ups by the powers that be?
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Financial Survival Network is brought to you today by Orin Resources, a junior exploration company with the appetite of a major. It's hot on the trail of the next globally significant discovery, creating enormous potential upside for you, the shareholder. Orin is one of the most aggressive exploration companies pursuing high-grade, scalable gold and copper deposits and has a premier 7-project portfolio, including its 2 flagships, Committee Bay in the Arctic and Sombrero in Peru. Orin's unparalleled technical team and highly experienced management has a history of success in advancing and monetizing exploration assets. No wonder Orin's been called one of the best in the junior exploration sector. Orin trades on the TSX and the NYSE under AUG. To learn more, go to orinresources.com. That's AURYN resources.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
But I think that's when you have to really sit down and really have a really good concrete plan, an exit plan, a plan of instead of being reactive, you should be proactive. Now is the time to say, hey, when can we temper a little greed here? And we've been blessed to get away with so much for so long. And how much of that should we take off the table? Mm-hmm. And how much of that should we put into less risk-averse asset type of positions? Now's the time to really have that conversation and say, okay, so we've rolled the dice and we've sat at the crab table and we've, done well, but when are we going to hit those snake eyes, So now's the time to really have that real conversation as to what is your exit plan, especially if you're within, 5 to 10 years of retirement or you're in retirement. You really, really have to look at where you're at position-wise. And then, time is not your ally when you're getting that close to retirement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time is not your friend. We know that for sure. And so So what are we supposed to do here exactly? So go into less risky asset classes, obviously, right? And what else?
Well, that's the thing to look at. Is really look at things that can control that you have give you the ability to manage risk a lot better. As income producing assets and things like that you have more control over. Not necessarily talking about actually going into bond funds or anything like that. I'm talking about actual instruments that we can control as far as what's being produced, the amount of possibility of the asset being sound, and being able to produce the income that you need. So, there's many areas to go. It just all depends on the individual and where they are in life. And, that's why it's so hard to just give a blanket statement of where you should go. All I know is that I know that we need to start looking at the fact that you have to have some type of exit strategy, and it has to be tailored to you as an individual.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So hey, let's say you're 60 years old, 65 years old, and, you haven't retired yet. You ideally would like to. And yet, where are you? What do you do here?
Yeah, that's the thing is that you got to remember, if there's a loss in that portfolio, you got to think about if you're that close to retirement and you really wanting to retire, you got to think about the things you're going to be giving up because of the fact that you didn't pull the trigger. Whether you're just sitting on cash, whether you're sitting on on the sidelines, whatever it is that you have to do, whatever that decision you make, because there's a cost for that. And I think when you're getting that close to retirement, you have to look at yourself and say, okay, you're 60, 62 years old. That means the last time that this crash happened, I was 52 years old. I was working. I was still pumping money in. I was still making money. Now I'm 62 years old. Do I have the time to get back? I mean, I'm here. I've gambled enough. How much more do I need to gamble? Yeah.
Well, so you really got to take a good hard look at where you are right now, what's going to be. But on the other hand, what if this thing keeps going for another 5 years here? That's always possible. It's unlikely. The probability isn't there, obviously, but it is possible that it could do this, right?
Anything is possible. Yeah. It would be great. But however, is that, one of the things that, what do they say? There was a study done a long, long time ago that, what did they say? 98% of the people that go to Vegas are winners.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible? 98% of the people that go to Vegas are winners. However, only 2% leave winners.
Yeah. So it's okay to take money off the table. In other words, protect your profits.
Yeah. So it's like, there's times, and of course, but once you do something, you can't look back. I mean, you have to look at the whole entirety. I mean, now if you're 20 years old, if you're 25 years old, if you're 35 years old, if you're 40 years old, that's a little different. But when you're there and you can see it, feel it, taste it, and you're so close to, that end goal of yours, then you really have to start looking at that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. That's a good idea. All right. Well, if you're in that position, you want to go find out how to do this and what you need to do, you want to contact Al. Al, where's the best place to find you on the web?
Yeah, absolutely. SummitGP.com, SummitGP.com, or you can look us up on Facebook, CKS Summit Group on Facebook. Always good to do that. Or you can always call us, 586-286-5820.
All right. Excellent. We'll have a link in the show notes to your site, of course, as always. And don't forget, send us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, Twitter feed @KerryLutz, Facebook page, Financial Survival Network. Join our FSN community. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. Al, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.